Hi everyone, this is Ethan here. I am going to give you a walkthrough of what the Latchel system looks like. So I'm logged in here as a property manager. Um, what you see in your dashboard is our basic maintenance workflow. And what I'm going to do right now is show you how this dashboard works and how a job actually moves through the flow and how tenants and maintenance technicians or vendors actually interact with the system. So let's first create a work order. Let's go with a broken garbage disposal. So you're going to give us a title, basic information. If you have a property management system, those work orders could be forwarded to us. If you're using our call center services, a tenant may call us and a work order may enter the system that way. Let's assume here that you have a non-emergency, right? This garbage disposal, and you're submitting that to us to get done. And we like getting detailed descriptions, but to make this easy, let's just keep things short and sweet. So we got all this property manager's properties loaded up. We'll go ahead and choose this one. We don't have tenant information right now, but I'm going to go ahead and create one. Let's okay. We'll give a fake phone number here. And I'm going to enter an email address for myself. Great. So we have our tenant created now. Really easy to create tenants when you're submitting these, but when you join our service, we usually will already pre-populate all our data with your tenants and properties, so you never have to add anything. And it makes it easy for our team and our call center. But if a tenant calls in that we don't have on file, they'll go ahead and create that for you. Okay. Great. So we have a work order submitted. We know the garbage disposal is broken. We know we need to replace it. We've set our budget limit for the work. Here's where you kind of track the job individually, right? You get all the details for the job here. And then you get notes too. These logs here, it's going to show every message that we send out, every text we send out. We see that Winston Churchill, who's the property manager here, already got notified that the work order is created. We see that a notification was already sent to the tenant, and if we click to drop that down, we can see the message that got sent to the tenant. Now, if we go back to the dashboard, we see that job here. We always start with scheduling with tenant. Once the tenant gives us availability, it would go into a finding vendor status, unless we already have vendors pre-selected. But let me show you what that looks like. So when your tenant gets this notification, they're going to go to a specific tenant link, this one here, that they got in their message. Now I'm just going to pop over here, and I'm going to do this in small windows so you can see that it's mobile friendly for your tenants, for the vendors. 90% of the time, this stuff gets used from mobile devices. All right, so let's go ahead and refresh that. So after clicking the message to give us the availability, this is where the tenant goes. And about 80% of the time, a tenant will just click either mornings, afternoons, or click all day. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to say no permission enter, and let's choose mornings. They can also upload images when they set their appointment. Let's skip that right now. Great. So we let them know we'll reach back out once we have a time slot confirmed. Now, at this point, normally we'd be contacting the vendor, but in this case, we don't have a vendor assigned yet. So when you go into your platform, what you'll see is, let's refresh. You'll see that it's now in finding vendor status. That means our team is looking for the vendor for that job. They might look at vendors that you already have and assign those. If you already have vendors loaded up, you'd be able to click this button and add a vendor. But I don't actually think we have this test property manager set up with any vendors. So here's what I'm going to do. Come back over here. We're going to log in as a Latchel team member. I'm going to take that broken garbage disposal job and say, okay, let's get someone out there. This is our team doing this now, and they're doing this on your behalf, right? Let's go with a handyman in the area. All right, let's go with this one. Go with Genghis Khan. All right. So we've now added that vendor to the job. When we hop back to your property manager screen, you'll see it's already updated. So you see we're scheduling with the vendor now. When you scroll to that log, you can see that our team member, Ethan L. From Latchel, has assigned a vendor. And in a little bit, you'll see the message that pops up for them. But I'm going to go ahead and bypass that so we don't have to wait for it. Take a unique link here. Oh, well, there we go. We see that it just sent the message out to the vendor. I'm going to go ahead and put in what the vendor sees here, though. So when they go to their link, and this doesn't require any logins, which is the cool thing. You never have to have a vendor create an account with us. They simply click these dedicated links for them, which makes it super easy to use from like a smartphone. You don't have to download anything. You don't even need to create an account. They see all the job details here, and they can select their schedule. So let's say they pick Tuesday morning. Well, they could pick any time. Let's go with Monday. The sooner the better. Great. Now what you'll notice is we've scheduled this thing, but we still need to confirm with the tenant, right? Here's the cool thing about the power of our system. We automated sending them notifications that the appointment got set. And you can see those messages here. All this stuff is logged real easily for you, which is great to use. That way, if you ever have someone say, oh, hey, I didn't get this message or that, or you never told me this, well, it's all logged right here with all the information we have for the tenant, which most of the time they're giving us, especially if they're calling this work order in or you're sending it via Appfolio. We have their phone number, we have their email, and we're communicating in all possible forms. When we don't get responses, it generates alerts for our team to reach out over the phone. So we'll even make phone calls and record those here. Now, I don't want us to have to wait until Monday at 8 a.m. So I'm going to do a little funky thing with the system here in our admin console. Only I can do this because this is a test server, but I'm going to set the date of this job as if it had already happened. That way you can see what happens once the time window completes. So basically what I'm doing right now is tricking our system on our test server into thinking that this job just finished. So let's go ahead and log that. All right, so while that's happening, I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to come back to the dashboard. You can see right now that the work date is scheduled. In a few moments here, the system's going to come back, look at this, and be like, oh, wait, the appointment already passed, so I need to confirm it's complete. So let's actually refresh and see if that's already happened. Let's hop in here. We're going to give this a few seconds. There we go. So the system now recognizes, oh, job window's passed. I need to confirm that this is complete. Now it automates this. But like I mentioned, if we don't get responses to these texts that we're sending to vendors, and tenants, our team's on the phones, so you don't have to be. Now, when I go to the maintenance tab, you'll see it move to confirming complete. So you can see what I mean by this stuff moving through the workflow. It's a really simple way to track this, and then you get details when you click into the job. When I come down here, I see all the appointment reminders that got sent, and what you'll see in a little bit is we sent reminders asking to confirm that the job is complete. I'm just going to skip over here now so you can see what these look like for the tenant and for the vendor. So the tenants one is really simple. I'm not going to touch this right now. I'm going to go over to the vendor side though. I want to show you what happens if they click work not complete, because that's a little bit more interesting, but then I'll refresh it and we'll pretend like, you know, the job got done, no problem. So the great thing about our system is we collect a lot of information from vendors. They can tell us, oh, I did some of the work or I didn't do any of the work. They can tell us why. Maybe the job is over budget, so they did some of it. Maybe they need to order a part or material, so it's not done. That gives our team the information to reschedule this stuff, right? 10 to 20% of the time, things aren't going to run as smooth as we want, and we need to be prepared. And this lets our team be prepared and then plan the next appointment date. So I'm going to actually go back here. Oops. Let's go grab that link again. Here are those messages that we see got recorded and sent out to both the vendor and the tenant. All right, let's come back and let's say that work got completed. Oh, here we go. All right, so that vendor just confirmed it's completed. Now we're getting an invoice. They can go ahead and create their invoice here. Let's just say there was like a minimum service charge. We'll say $250. Replaced garbage disposal. And they can upload pictures here. I'll just throw up a couple pictures of some iPhone cases and barcodes. Ideally, they're taking pictures of the garbage disposal, right? All right, we'll go next. They get a, and this is all mobile friendly. I'm showing you in this small window so you can kind of see what it looks like on their phone. But they get a nice preview of what the invoice is going to look like when it sends to you. Has all the images, description of the work, the line item that they popped in there, and then they can go ahead and submit that. Now, if you're using one of the Latchel vendors, that invoice would automatically pay out over our system. If you're using one of your vendors, we would just forward that invoice to you. More often than not, though, if you're using your preferred vendors, they won't even invoice this way through us. They'll send it to you directly. And then when we find out that they sent you the invoice, we'll just close the job out. But it makes it really easy when you're using our vendors, any Latchel partner vendors, because this will automatically pay out 3 days later. If you want, you can dispute that. And at any time, that tenant can come in here and tell us it's resolved too, and then give us a rating. Great. So I'm going to come back here so you can see how all this looks when we refresh. So we see it's complete. We can see the tenant left a review. Again, we see all the messages that got sent. When you come back to this, you always have a record of the invoice right from the job. You can see the reviews that were left. Any images, we store those as files so you can download them. And then it always stays in your dashboard, so you can always access that at any time. And this dashboard is easily searchable, so you can always type title of the work order, part of the description, and that'll pop up here. So it's easy to track this stuff. So that's how your main dashboard works. I'll do another video that you can look at if you're interested in seeing what the invoicing piece looks like when you just want to manage invoices. Thanks for watching.